Hello, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Patrick Bleak. He is a motivational speaker and influencer. He's also a hip hop artist. So I want to just mention that he goes by the name of P. Wilson. I'll have his website at the end of this podcast interview. So, this is my brief introduction to you, Patrick. But a question that I love asking my guests is, how would you introduce yourself? How would you describe who you are in this present moment? Who is Patrick?
Just somebody that's on the journey, I'm on the entrepreneurship journey. Just in the process of the transformation that I've been developing, the mindset I've been developing, my music's starting to develop, my overall fitness knowledge is starting to develop. I'm just a person that's trying to develop my life in all ways to, just become the best version of me at the end of the day. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yes, I love that. To become the best version of you. Do you have a picture, a vision of what that would look like?
Yeah, I like to be successful at something that I love doing. I enjoy helping people,
Yeah.
I like to be able to help people on scale, in various different ways. Like I have a few ideas as far as, tackling some social issues and stuff like that. And, so just pretty much doing that. I really love to be able to get into helping people further on scale where you're not just helping one person individually or two, where you can, help hundreds or thousands at a time.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. When I asked the question about the purpose of life, I've been asking this question for so many times, so many people. I get that answer all the time: to help others. That's the purpose of my life. Is that the way you define success too, Patrick? Would that be success, happiness, purpose? Are they all related to helping others? Or there's something else? Do you also see money and other things being part of that?
Yeah, of course, you're going to have money,
Yeah.
especially if you're an entrepreneur. And the bigger endeavors you take on, the more money it's going to cost. So
Yeah.
you're always going to need money. You're always going to need you're going to need health. Without health, you're not going to be in tip top shape. You're not going to be able to give your best daily.
Mm.
And your mind has to be sharp. You have to have a mindset developed, not to give up at adversity and different things like that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
definitely money, God, and helping people, and just having a path and having a purpose. Waking up with a purpose every day
Mm.
to either help somebody or help yourself be the best version of you.
Yes.
Because if you're not the best version of you, you're going to have a hard time getting people to buy into what you're selling, you know?
Yes. That's the idea of being authentic, right? A lot of people talk about that, just being true to you, being authentic, being present. Yes, I know I believe with that with all my heart. And I don't think it's a belief system anymore. It's just the way I live my life. Did you mention God? I think you did, right? As part of that. What is
Yes.
what is God to you, Patrick?
For me, it's, you know, I, I read the book. So that's what my version of God would be. So, I think God's in everything. I mean, I think you can be your own God at a certain extent. Like you can't be the God, but you can be like
Mm.
God of like your surroundings, what you think, how you develop your thoughts and control your thoughts, and how you can you know, create different scenarios in your head, you know, good or bad, and you're going to get an outcome one way or the other. You
Yes.
know, a lot of the stuff that I've, you know, been thinking about for years is happening. Like, I couldn't imagine doing a podcast with you in New York. Like, these are things that, like, you know what I mean? This is the
Oh, yeah.
stuff that is developed through action, you
Yeah.
know,
Mm.
and God is in that, you know, for me.
Yes. Yeah. That's a beautiful answer. Yes. To me, God is everything. It's in everything. Um, so before I start asking questions about your music, I'm really curious to know more about it. Before that, what is your backstory? I have an idea, of course, but how did you come to be who you are today, Patrick? Where do you come from? I would love to for the audience to know more about you, your background.
Well, I do come from like a troubled background. You know, I had young parents. Probably at the time, I had no business having a kid.
Yeah.
You know, by the time I was 9 months, my dad had already went to jail for domestic violence. He left. My uncle moved in, and my uncle was only 18,
Mm.
and you know, he threatened my mom that he was going to kill me, and like I'm a toddler, and like just crazy stuff. Like my mom's been married like 6 times. She's had, you know, countless boyfriends, and my mom was really good looking.
I saw her picture.
And, you know, yeah. So it was just like one of those things. So, yeah, I mean, there was drugs and alcohol in my house. You know, I was affected by that at a young age. And, you know, I was pretty much drinking and, you know, using marijuana every day from
Yeah.
the age 12 till 34, you know, and a lot of other stuff like later on in life. But marijuana was like really consistent for me, an everyday user at like 12. I went to rehab at 15, Alcoholics Anonymous at 18, back to rehab at 26, and a bunch of different detoxes and stuff. And then, you know, just one day I had been around recovery so much for so many years that one day I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
And, yeah. And then, so that was September 3rd of 2018. And then I started getting into fitness in 2019, and I lost 80 pounds. And, yeah, I've just been on this journey ever since, and just like trying to soak up as much knowledge about fitness and nutrition, and, you know, how to develop your mindset, and, you know, just continue to gain knowledge every day.
Mm, yeah, it's beautiful. Learning, there's something about that, being open to learn, never closing ourselves. But of course, I remember not feeling like I had a choice when I was going through my, let's say, the residues of my traumatic experiences too in childhood. So, do you feel that we are always engaging something that we can call addiction or an obsession? And in a way, we are actually transferring the energy that we are putting into, let's say, substance, drugs, or anything else that's not helpful to something that it is. That's how I felt with fitness too, that I was transferring all that energy that I was putting something else that was harmful to something that was beneficial to me. Do you feel the same way, Patrick?
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is that like the drugs don't get you high. It's the chemical reaction
Mm.
with the drugs that are already in you,
Ah,
like serotonin and dopamine. So when you're working out, you're hitting the endorphins,
oh
you
yeah.
know, you're getting dopamine hits, you're getting muscle, you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you know, you're getting yours. Like you're getting high.
Ah, right.
But it's not chemically induced. So it's like you're having to work for it. You know, you're having to work for this, to build this. And then these are all things that I'm learning. So it's all, you're developing this sense of pride in yourself, and then you get this confidence, and then you get this belief, and then you start removing fear and doubt out of your life. And as much as possible, of course, you're not going to remove it 100%, but
Right.
it's going to be a lot less than if you just ate pizza and watched sports for a month, and then you're like trying to make $1 million a month
Yeah.
or $500,000 a month, and you're not putting any action behind that. You're just thinking about it, and you're eating junk food and watching sports all day. Like the action's it's not congruent, you know?
Right, right. Yeah. That's interesting to hear. I wonder if fitness can also become an addiction in the sense of carrying the harmful effects of it. Because I remember people around me who, they're engaging so much in fitness because they had so much, they are trying actually to change their lives too, that they became sick, that they had problems, injuries, serious injuries too, because they're trying so hard, putting so much pressure in the body. So that's something that I was very careful about it, but I guess affected me too. Not in the sense of injuries, but I remember feeling that I was only, let's say, loved or cared for if I looked in a certain way, if I looked fit, if I looked good, people would. So I was actually addicted to the attention, the way that people look at me and they would ask questions. It was not helpful because there was a different kind of obsession, thinking that I was only the body, that was the only thing that could give me some sort of satisfaction. So I don't know if that happened to you, hopefully not, but that's a risk, isn't it, in a way?
And the possibility of getting hurt's always there, you know? And that's like the worst thing that can happen to somebody that's in fitness.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
like, you know, like the guy that I know, he's like, oh, you blew out your quad? It has nothing to do with your abs, you
Wow.
know, or your
Yeah.
biceps. You know what I mean? So he's like, you just got to keep going. But it is like the most devastating thing that can happen to somebody in fitness. And that's why I lift real light, high rep, and just build as much muscle as possible before you really start getting like, you know, super heavy or whatever. But I started, I was fat. So I started to do it just to lose weight. And then I started to, you know, tap in with different people that I admired in the field of overcoming stuff. And
Oh, yeah.
that's when I started to notice, you know, a thing, you know, something they were all saying was, it was the mind. And I
Mm.
started to really hone in on that in the beginning, was that this is all about the mind. And I could really resonate with that because of just how much of an effect that drugs had on me. And it was like I was just more using it to just control my thoughts and try and just keep a clear pathway between like all these corruptible thoughts that I'd have, and, you know, the fear and the doubt and the shame and the guilt, all these nasty
Yeah.
things, and try and keep more, you know, more of the positive stuff, keep flowing in, you know.
Oh, I love that. How do you do that these days? What's your practices to enhance the mind to the extent that you speak of? Do you meditate?
Well, you know, I pray and meditate daily, and then you know, I read,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, daily, and I work out 7 days a week. So I do it, like I said, like I go real light.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I go a little bit heavier depending on what exercise it is, and something that I know that I'm not going to get like crushed on, you know?
Right. Right.
So, but just keep it real light, just more focus on controlling my thoughts. And, you know, my biggest thing is just because controlling the way I eat. Dailies that keeps me pretty consumed with just like calculating all the numbers and what calories and this and that and that, and it's like keeps your mind busy and focused on something that's, is going to be positive for you down the road.
Yes. What's the relationship between music, hip hop, being a hip hop artist, and confidence? So let's start there, and then I have other questions for you.
So yeah, that was like the real reason that I got into fitness in the beginning to begin with, because I'm a little bit older.
Yes.
So, I'm coming up on 40. So there's not really too many 40-year-old rappers. I mean, there is, but it's not, they're not giving deals out to like 40-year-old rappers, right? So I was like, I gotta get the confidence. And, a lot of the guys that grow up in the hood, they can,
Hmm.
they can be overweight and, their health might be deteriorating. That's no here, no there. But one thing they're not lacking is confidence. And I knew that I was lacking it because, you got to get to the stage, you got to get your message through the mic to people's ears. You got to have this whole, you're doing videos, so you got to come across like, you got to come like, what you're doing, like you're supposed to be here,
Yeah.
really, you got to be like, I'm supposed to be here. You're going to respect what I'm doing. And yeah, so I needed, that's what really jumped it off. I knew that I needed to lose weight. I needed to look a certain way at my age so I could turn back the hands of time and find the fountain of youth,
Yes.
and be vibrant, at middle aged. So me personally, I I do all the investing in my music, so I don't have to worry about getting a deal. So I can be as old as I am, as long as you can build a brand and a fan base. All that stuff doesn't matter.
So do you feel like confidence is the same thing as courage? Are they very close together in a sense?
Well, I mean, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, you better not be lacking either one of those,
Yes.
because you're going to have some dark days where no one's paying attention and no one cares. You better just keep going, because if you stop, you lose. You better just be a shark. You got to just keep moving. A shark's always moving. You just don't stop moving.
Yes.
You stop moving, you die.
Yeah, we can actually die before we die, right? Before we lose the body. Yeah, there's a form
Yeah.
of death. I agree. Then, okay, so I love the way you talk about positivity too, this positive change that you have made, and that's your contribution to others too, because I know we talked off record, you're not a coach yet, but that's something that could happen in the future. So that'll be wonderful, because I thought about it when reading about you and watching the videos I thought it was just, gosh, I wish more people would get in touch with him as a mentor so you could pass that on to them, which could happen. But you talked to me that this is something that could happen, but not now. Talk to me a bit more about your music. What do you write about, Patrick? I didn't listen to any of your music yet. And where did we find it?
I'm actually on Spotify now, so you can look up P. Wilson, and then you might have to type the name of the song in.
Oh,
And so one of the songs is Ice T, but the other published song that I have is right under it. So as far as what I rap about is just life experience, so I'm getting more into like motivational stuff, and like so I want to bring it all full circle, but you got to understand that I lived
yeah.
a certain way for like 22 years, so there's a lot of like storytelling in it. Some's about me, some's about my friends, some's about my family, some's about, you know, people I hardly even know. But
Yeah. Yes.
I love the storytelling aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's just it started out with me as like a therapeutic thing when I was younger, and then I started getting around people that were involved in hip hop, and then my brother married Britney Spears when I was like 19, so I got around the industry. So in like I think 2005 and 6, like
Yeah.
I was around some big people in the industry, so like it just started like developing like that. But the thing with me was, as I always had drug problems, so I'd take 2 steps forward, then I'd take
Mm.
20 backwards, and I kept repeating that process for a long time. And then now that I've been able to be sober for coming up on 6 years, I've been able to make all this happen in a pretty short amount of time.
Yes. How beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for being you. That's so wonderful to see.
I appreciate it. Thank
Ah,
you.
yeah, that's really beautiful. I have to ask you this question. I have too many questions now. How do you make sense of suffering, Patrick? Like, why do you think, we are born in certain families and we go through all these unnecessary suffering, it feels to me. Uh, do you see a reason for it? Do you believe that, I don't know, in some sort of, do you have any spiritual explanations for that, or you live as it is?
I think it's just some people are just born into bad spots. I think you get put up against a test to use that as an excuse for the rest of your life, and then
Mm,
you end up
mm,
living someone else's life your whole life, and then you wake up one day and you're like, "Well, damn, I want a do over," and
yeah.
that's what happens. As soon as you can figure out that everything wrong in your life is your fault, and you
Mm,
know why that
mm,
is true is because you're letting things affect you from when you were 4 years old, still when you're 30, or 40, and
mm,
you know what I mean. So it's
mm.
it's still your fault, even though what happened to you when you were 4 or 5 years old wasn't your fault, but you continuing to be the victim in your 30, 40s, 20s, don't matter. You're still, it's still your fault.
Mm.
So as soon as you can realize that everything going wrong in your life is your fault, the better off you're going to be.
Wow, what a powerful message. Yes, I heard exactly what you said in a different way. Somebody said, we only mature when we take responsibility for what we're not responsible for. So that's the same message, so in a different way. That really stopped me. I remember when I heard that, like, gosh, that's it. But sometimes we can't help it,
Yeah, that's great.
isn't it?
That's a good way of putting it.
So I want to ask you a question about the artists that you hip hop artists. Who is your do you have somebody who has been influential in your life? Somebody that you look that's yeah, your idol per se, somebody that you admire. Who would that be?
Definitely Tupac, Nipsey Hussle, E40. I mean, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
There's so
Yeah.
many people that I admire in hip hop. I mean, I started listening to hip hop when I was like 4 years old. So they were like, they were like the rappers was like comic book characters to me. It was like, so it was more, I wasn't really into comics when I was a kid. And I just collected like
Yeah.
rap, and hip hop tapes. And that was like my thing. And, but definitely Tupac, Nipsey, E40, Jay Z,
Oh my God. Yeah.
50 Cent. Um,
Yeah.
there's Master P.
So many amazing.
There's so many
Yeah.
great artists.
What make them great? Are they all different? Do they all have different like skills and particular talents, or there's something that they all share that makes them who they are?
Well, yeah, I mean, you get to see. I mean, I don't know if you have any familiarity with the hood, but I mean, just getting out of the hood is like
Mm.
a huge accomplishment, you know?
Ah,
So, yeah, I mean, some of the stuff these guys are doing nowadays is it's remarkable. I mean,
yeah.
E40 has like, food in stores. He's got like a really huge like alcohol line and like wine and spirit line, and his music's done really well. He was like a businessman from the beginning, and he was getting paid what people were never getting paid
Mm.
back then. And I mean, they could sell way less units and still make more money than somebody that sold millions and millions of copies of records, because of the deals that they had.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of business stuff involved about talking with those guys, but yeah, I mean, just making it out of the hood is like a huge accomplishment
Mm.
because it's just so dangerous and violent.
Right. Yeah. That's survival. We need to survive first. Yeah. That. And then, yeah, to feel safe, right? In order to be creative. Yes. Um, Another question that came to me: did they, any of these people that you mentioned, did they, any of them had addiction problems? Do you know?
And if guys do, a lot of people are really not really all that open about
Yes.
it,
Right. Right.
you
Right.
know, and most rappers don't really have problems with drugs as far as like the old school guys. I don't know about like the new school guys because it's just a whole different
Yeah.
it's just a whole different music that's being made nowadays, as far as like, I don't know, it's just different from like the old school guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, everybody has problems, whether it's drugs or alcohol. It doesn't matter. It's like
Yeah.
if you if you don't if you don't take care of the way you eat, you smoke cigarettes, like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
there's more than one way to destroy your health besides drugs and alcohol.
Yes. Yeah. So true, Patrick. Yeah, I think I have seen them. I mean, that the videos and things, it shows them smoking marijuana. I think that's very common, and I think DMX had a drug issue.
Yes, DMX, you're right. Yeah, DMX, perfect. He's a perfect example of somebody that was very, very big and very influential, and definitely drugs and alcohol got the best of him.
Yeah.
That's where I'd like to be able to help people in the industry. When you eventually get in the industry and you're moving around in the industry, and but yeah, that's something that could have been prevented most likely, but you can't go back, but it could have got prevented. It could have been prevented
Yeah.
for sure.
So I know we're almost at the end. I love the way you talk about fitness. You said fitness is not just about physical change, but a key to enhancing one's mindset and overall lifestyle. So true. And then, as I mentioned off record, I watched some of your videos there on your website, which I have here. Your website is streetburger.shop.
Yes.
That's I have the link here. So I love the videos though. I love the one that you talk about your wife, your daughter, and of course self-care. That's big. You talk about personal development and how that's the first step to take care of yourself. And then you talk about your wife and that connection, how it helped you so much to being together with her. I love the when you talk about your daughter, you say it's not just being a provider financially, but physically and emotionally. That really stopped me for a second because I never had a father that was emotionally available. So that's wonderful to see a young man, you are a young man with kids, with a daughter using that word. emotionally. To me, that's almost more important than physically. I know both of them, they go together, but it makes a huge difference to have somebody to listen to us, especially children. They love that. So I mean, talk to me for a moment about that. What is your message for young parents? I know you had young parents and that didn't work out so well. And sometimes it does, I guess, for some people, but not for too many of them. So what's your message to them? Would, would you ask them to wait to have children when they are more mature and healed and happy, or learn along the way?
I mean, kids are difficult. I have a very difficult child. So, yeah. So my kid's
Yeah.
15 now. So yeah, I have a very difficult kid. So it's, I know I wasn't really all that young. I was like 24. I think it was, now I think it was a good age, but at the time I was like, oh no, but now that I'm like, you know, almost 40, that she's about, she just turned 15. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that was perfect timing, right? So,
Yeah.
it all boils down to, it's all my fault. My kid's difficult because of the choices that I made, from her growing up and me not being emotionally available.
Mm.
So there's two sides of that coin. I wasn't emotionally available. I was a good provider, but I wasn't emotionally available, and she needed that, and I couldn't give that to her at that time as much as she needed. Not that I didn't. It was just not as much as I should have or could have, and what she wanted and what she needed, and
Right.
so yeah, it had a huge effect on her, and it's just you just got to accept responsibility, and you're just always trying to find the solution. Like, I know what the problem is, like, so I find the solution. Oh, I know what that problem is. Now I need to find the solution, and
Yes.
it's just always trying to find the solution instead of beating up the problem.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, instead of focusing on the problem, just try to find a solution. I love that too. That's so empowering messages. I love the message of taking responsibility. Everything. I wouldn't say it that way. Everything's my fault. Sounds a little heavy, but yeah, I would say that it's my happiness is my responsibility. Whatever I wish from this life, it's my responsibility, not anyone else. So that changes everything, Patrick. It really, really does. So what a powerful message. So that there's something else that I saw. Yeah, so I saw that video. Yeah, this one. Yeah, you talked about the broken home that we actually started with that about them growing up and all. I think I hear music in the background. Is that you rapping? Oh no, I think you're talking, right? There's a lot of but it feels like it's music to me.
Yeah, no, there's instrumentals. So those are like my friends that have made beats for me, and we use them. And yeah, I just narrate it, and then my friend, he's a pretty big guy in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Not as far as like influence or anything, but he's worked on some pretty big projects in Hollywood, and he just did a couple corporate commercials, and he's on tour right now with Tom Green, doing a comedy tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he basically edited all this my whole life, and then we just narrated it. So yeah, I think it was like ahead of its time right now. It's
Mm,
just I'm so
mm,
new to the internet. Like, I've only really been on the internet since like September. So, I had like an account, but I never took it seriously. And like, I just started taking like the whole social media platform seriously in September. So
yeah.
I think a lot of that stuff will do well like down the road. And yeah, I mean, I hope so, because it's like really good stuff.
Yeah. It's something like a mini movie to me. It's like very positive, motivational, inspirational. It just got me going. I was watching one after another. I couldn't stop really. So yeah, yeah, really, really well done.
Awesome.
Well done. Um,
Awesome.
so let's see. We're almost at the end. I do have a few more questions for you here. Oh yes. So the idea of nutrition. I know you mentioned food a little bit about eating right, but do you recommend any specific way of eating in order to maintain the body, and the mind healthy?
Well, the nutrition's super tricky. So, I mean, it just depends on like what kind of damage you've like done to
Mm,
yourself.
yeah.
And yeah, so I mean it's that's like so many variables. It just depends on like the person. If they're like already in pretty good shape, you just basically put them on like a calorie deficient for a certain amount of time till they get all the body fat off and stuff, and then have them start eating, and
Yeah.
then and build muscle pretty much from that point on, and then do it again, and then just repeat that process for the rest of your life, as long as you want it to look good, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that's yeah. But like it's kind of hard with somebody that's pretty big. I don't really, it's kind of a tricky one. Just eat a lot less than you're already eating, and just keep it clean, and
Mm,
learn how to lift weights correctly. And I think just learning how to lift weights correctly will, it's going to take you a long way. But nutrition is a huge factor in it too. But lifting weights is just as important as the nutrition.
that's good to know. Did you have personal trainer, or do you teach yourself how to lift weights properly?
No, I hired a mentor. So that's
Okay.
I so what came with my personal training was like it was a package of like learning the whole coaching and personal development field. Like I didn't really know much about it, and so basically I got a overhaul of personal development, life coaching, and it's all app based. It was all app based. Like you had a personal trainer on an app, and but he gives you the workout plan, and I mean, since I've been using that workout plan, I've built nothing but muscle.
Wow, that works. So it really works. You see, having a
Yeah.
mentor, right, even if it is through an app, it's so crucial. Yes, guidance. That's another powerful message.
But I mean it's through an app, but you're still gonna be like I was still in communication with them, and
Mm,
once well for me it was twice a week we'd have like mentor Zoom meetings. So it was like it wasn't just like here's an app, here's the workout. It's like he's heavily involved in the process of you
right.
developing. So
Um,
it was a good experience. It was a really good experience for me, and it got me on the personal development journey. So I'm forever grateful for that, because without that, I always had this vision, but once I started getting on the personal development journey, like everything became like so clear and precise, and like I knew exactly how I needed to do this, and then all this my network started to open up, and it was a really good experience.
yeah, it sounds like. Did that take you a long time? Or a few months, 3 months, 6 months?
I was on there I started last May, so I
Okay.
haven't even really been lifting weights correctly for a year yet.
Yeah.
So how I lost 80 pounds was I did cardio, and I did like lightweight, and I was just super calorie deficient, like
Yeah.
like way below what I should have even been below. It's like I should have been eating more food, but it's all about certain carbs, certain fats, certain proteins.
Yeah.
You're
Oh, yeah.
super fit, so it's like
Oh, yeah.
you got to count those macros if you're trying to get like,
True.
if you're trying to get supermodel results, like you better not be slacking in in the kitchen, you know? And
Right.
but like I said, lifting weights correctly is just as important as the food is too, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. Um, we're almost at the end. I want to thank you again for your beautiful presence in this reality, as I call it, shared reality in our world. We need that inspiration. We do need that, Patrick. So thank you for being the
Appreciate it.
message. Yeah, for doing all this work. I know it's so much work and you're committed to it. How wonderful. The website again is streetburger.shop. I'll have that on the podcast notes. I also will look into your music, of course, and I made my notes here if I can find it. I can write my own. So it's P. Wilson, Spotify, Ice T. So I look for that song and then other songs will come in.
Yeah, there's two songs on there. So
Okay. So,
um yeah, then my Instagram is it's askp.wilson.
are you on YouTube too, Patrick, or you're not?
I do have a YouTube, but it's kind of under construction, but it's Street Broker TV.
Okay.
P Wilson Street Broker TV.
Yes.
So there's one video up right now, but
Okay.
you know how this is. You gotta build the content, then you gotta market it, you know. So it's a this is a deep entrepreneurship is a deep pocket game. Like
Right.
you better be ready to for a long road.
Right. Yeah. It's a long term commitment for sure.
Yeah.
I love your videos, as I said. So they are not on YouTube. Not all of them are there. Are they on Instagram or TikTok and all the other ones? The other.
They are on Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram's like my main platform right now, so I'm just really trying to get really good at Instagram.
Okay.
I do have the YouTube, so as soon as like my marketing plan comes into fold, then I'll start working on YouTube. But I'm just really trying to get really good at Instagram right now.
Yes. Yeah. One. That's what I heard too. Sometimes you have to focus on one social media platform, not all of them. Just choose one and go with that in marketing. So I think you're in the right direction. I love your videos. I love your message. I love everything about it. It's just very inspiring. Thank you. Before we
Thank
say
you.
goodbye for today, I have to ask you this question. What is freedom to you? This platform is called The Freedom to Feel. So I have to ask you, what is freedom to you, Patrick?
Well, I mean, for me, it's financial freedom for me. So it's just being able to do what you love,
Mm.
where you have the versatility to be able to do what you love, help people, take your income, reinvest it in other projects to be able to help more
Mm.
people and,
Yes.
just wake up living a purpose, get that financial freedom so you're not stuck in an office and, building someone else's dream and you're building your own, you're working for it, but at the same time you're also able to enjoy your life and still work. So
Yeah.
financial freedom is a huge one for me. Now, it's not just like, oh, I need all these cars. Yeah, cars are great. I love. I'll get those cars too, but
Right.
it's more of like being able to be like versatile to be able to
Mm.
carry out what I'm trying to do long term.
Yes. Yeah. Great message. Thank you so much again for your presence, and we'll talk soon. We'll be in touch again. I would love that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye for now, Patrick.
Bye bye.